Today in Lesson 10, the students learned how to divide decimals by decimals, and we talked about a couple of things from our classes before. The first one we did is 8 and 32 hundredths divided by 3.2. And I had the students, before I even had them write it out as a division problem, I asked them to think about the place values in the decimals that they were dividing. Here they are taking a number in the 100ths place, and they're dividing it by a number with a tenths place decimal. So the students talked about keeping the first fraction, changing division to multiplication, and flipping the second fraction around. And if they multiplied these two fractions, they would get 10 over 100. And if they crossed out the zeros, this would scale down to 1/10. Okay, so their answer should be in the tenths place. Okay, that's just one thing we talked about today. First thing I had when we're actually dividing is I had them write it out as a division problem. 8.32 divided by 3.2. And I pointed out, you really can't do this problem. You cannot divide a decimal by another decimal without changing some things mathematically. And the main thing is changing this number right here to a whole number. And you can do that by multiplying it by a power of 10. If I multiply 3.2 times 10, it changes 3.2 to the whole number 32. Okay? Multiplying it by 10 is the same as moving a decimal place one spot to the right. Whatever I do on the outside in my divisor, I also must do in my dividend. Okay? So the students and I talked about what power of 10 I used to convert the divisor to a whole number. It was 10, or 10 to the first power. And then I rewrote it for the students. This now becomes 83.2 divided by the whole number 32. And then we talked about actually dividing the problem out. Okay, I can beam up the decimal of right there. 32 does not fit into 8. It fits into 83 twice. There is a remainder here of 19. And then I'm going to drop my 2 down. 32 fits into 192 6 times. So the answer to this problem, or the quotient, is 2.6. And I would encourage students to use their calculator or figure it out mathematically, taking their quotient and multiplying it by their divisor to make sure they get the dividend. So 3.2 times 2.6 equals 8.32, which is the dividend we started with. So let me walk you through one more example so you understand what the kids were doing today. I'm taking a 1,000th, dividing it by a 100th. If I do keep, change, flip, and I scale it down, my answer should be in the tenths place, okay? And I had the students write this vertical number sentence out as an actual division of decimal problem, as an actual division problem. To make 0 and 77 100ths a whole number, I actually need to move the decimal 2 times, and that is the same as multiplying it by a power of 10 to the second power, or 2 jumps, which is equal to 10 times 10, which is 100. And if I multiplied this by 100, or move the decimal 2 times, whatever I do to the divisor, I also have to do on the inside to the dividend. And I'm going to rewrite the problem. It's 115.5 now, divided by 77. And now the kids can actually do this as a division problem. The first thing I suggest to them is beaming the decimal up. 77 can't fit into 1, it can't fit into 11, it can fit into 115 once. When I subtract these, I get 38. I'm going to drop my 5 down. 77 fits into 385 5 times. And your answer to this division problem, or your quotient, is 1 and 5/10. And again, I'm going to multiply my quotient by my divisor to make sure that my dividend is correct. And it is 1 and 155 thousandths. And this was a brief synopsis of Lesson 10.